Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Tonight we're going to talk about how to pack travel snacks.
We always have to take snacks. I don't know about you, but I don't even leave the house without snacks in my
I
purse or
don't
my
either.
bag or whatever. Like there's always something, right?
I think it's that Midwest thing. We just always have to be prepared. I know when I first got to California, even my husband's like, "What do you?" I'd always have like stuff in my purse, a bottle of
Mhm.
water, little,
Yeah.
little baggies of, and I just said,
Yeah.
"Well, if you get hungry, you got to have something." Nobody wants to get hangry.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's, gum is not enough, Tic Tacs is not enough. Like there's a banana in there, or there's like a muffin, or there's like
Yeah.
something. And it's partly, like you said, it's probably a little bit of a Midwest thing, but it's also just a cost saving things, right? You don't want to have to stop and, buy something every time you get a little hungry, because buying something is going to be anywhere from $5 to $10, and you maybe just need a little, bite,
Yes.
right?
Right. And everything has just gone up so expensive. Like, depending on how you're traveling, if you're going through the airport and you haven't brought something to, once you get past through security, to fill up your own water. I mean, a water, I think the last time was like you said, $5 for
Yeah, it's
something that's like
crazy for
for,
water.
for water. It's like that's nuts.
And now, I mean, we went through a transition period, but now most public places, the water fountains are ready, are ready for the
Yes.
water bottles, right? Because there for a while we were,
Yeah.
trying to get it in there, and you don't want to do it in the bathroom because you don't know about that where that water is coming
Right.
from. But yeah, so finally we've moved into a place where most water fountains accommodate water bottles, and you can refill them because paying for water is crazy. And then the other thing is, I will say that when I bring my snacks, whether it's my train snack or my plane snack or whatever, I always feel like I'm having like the best meal nobody else is having, because I've bought like fresh fruit and some cheese, and sometimes I bring, and sometimes I pour wine in something. I got a little,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, yeah, same thing. It's like if I went to the market ahead of time and got the best cheddar or something special,
Yeah.
now I'm, preparing a little baggie of cheese cubes and maybe the kind of crackers I like. It does. It just feels
Yep.
more special, more personal. And I don't know,
Yeah.
this, yeah. And it's like, because when you look at those prices at the airport, I mean, it's
Well,
crazy. And maybe
I,
the train station too. It's been a while since I've been through the train stations, but
Yeah, I think I show this every time. I always bring a bandana. I have a whole stack of them on bottom for like $4, and you get like 25 of them online. And they're in different colors. And I use one as my placemat or my tablecloth. So I put that on that dirty airplane
yeah.
tray or whatever, or the one in the plane, or on a table if I'm eating outside or wherever I happen to be done. And then I take all my little things and lay it all out. And like I said, sometimes people are like looking over going, what is she doing?
Yeah, right.
Like, I've got a whole setup here. And I take two colors because I use one as a napkin and I use the other as for my tray. That way I know which one I put on my mouth and which
Oh,
one goes in
yeah.
the tray, so I don't forget that. And so I bring multiple colors and keep track of which one is used for which. Um, but it's so much more fun to have all of that. I mean, they come and they bring you, now you get whatever snack, it's in like some plastic thing and they lay it on your tray. Sometimes they throw it on your
I
tray and
know.
you get a little plastic container. I mean, it's so much nicer
Yeah, it's much nicer. You
than
have
I do it
control of
myself.
what you're gonna have, and you don't. I think it's important that you never, with travel, you just never know what may happen. You may
Yep.
get delayed, you may get, who knows what may happen. So it's best to be prepared.
Yeah. And if you have like food allergies, or you're a picky eater, or any of those things, like the meals or the lack thereof of meals that you have available or that are provided when you're traveling, especially on that travel day, right? The day
Yes.
you leave or come home, where it's a big day of being on the road, good to have a bag full of snacks
Yeah, exactly.
that you can eat it with, right?
Right.
Because you
And
never,
always, yeah, I know both of us, we always carry like, a set of, plastic or travel
yes.
silverware. I think all of that is super important so that you can take advantage and bring your own stuff, maybe buy it before you get to the airport, buy some things, put it together,
Mhm.
have what you need.
Yeah, it's really helpful to have that. And so then let's talk a little bit about like what kinds of things we bring. I think some people are maybe here to get some inspiration for that. And we made a little list of
Yeah.
the things. I know we're talking about cheese, and that's typically what I bring is bread, cheese, maybe some sliced meats. fruits and vegetables. That's usually the combination of things, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to vary depending on, if you, again, like we mentioned, if you have food allergies, but that way you can control. I mean, there's all
Right.
kinds of different cheeses now. Some are dairy free, even with crackers or some bread, some protein, whether that might be nuts for you or if it's some, sliced meat or something like that, or, whatever you might have. We did talk about things to avoid just if you're in a closed compartment, and planes are getting more and more crowded. They're not making them any more comfortable. So,
No, I think they just did a survey, like how small is okay to be in?
yeah.
It's too small already. Stop asking.
So
But yeah,
yeah, we were saying, yeah, like there are like the tuna packets that you can
yes.
take that have the tuna, and maybe if you're in your own car or you're going to eat outside as a picnic, that might be all right. But some of that is kind of smelly. I wouldn't put that in my
Don't put
bag.
your fellow
Yeah.
passengers through tuna or boiled eggs. Like those are great lunch things. I bring them both often, but it's not something you want to open up in a closed
Yeah.
space, like on the train or on a bus, or people, everybody's gonna be like, who brought the eggs, right? It's kind of like,
Right.
who burnt the popcorn at the
Yes.
office, right? So
Right.
you ruin the smell for everyone. One thing, speaking of smell, that I do like to bring is I often bring oranges. Oranges are little tangerines because they do smell good. So if you have um if it smells on the plane or you have somebody in the area that has a smell, lots of times just taking that orange and open it up, you'll
Yeah,
get
when you
that
open it
scent.
up.
Yeah, and it makes a difference in the smell. That'll change the smell around your space, and everybody else can smell it. So that's a good thing, a good smell
Right,
to use.
exactly. But there's a lot of things that you can take. I mean, they're making more and more things portable. So if you don't want to take the time to actually cut up your own cheese, you can
Right,
often go to the market ahead of time, and you'll find a selection of cut vegetables, things like celery or carrots,
right.
or things that won't get really awful in that travel day.
Yes,
Peanut
yes.
butter comes now, or nut butters in little packets. I know we were
Mhm.
talking about.
Yeah, and you can sometimes just buy, like, I save those little jars, right? You
Yep,
get
I do
the
too.
hotels, the little jelly jars. I have a handful of them in my cabinet, and those jelly jars, because then I can toss them if I don't
Yes.
want to bring them back, right? But I put ranch dressing in a jelly jar, right? So I can have it for my vegetables if I want, or peanut butter. Lots of different things you can put in those. They're really nice because they seal, and they're really tiny. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
good to have a couple of those little things if you want. I try to think of like anything, lots of times I'm thinking before I leave, as I'm one of the things I do, like a lot of people, is you're cleaning your fridge out, right? You want to
Right.
empty it before you leave, especially if you're going to be gone for more than a week. And so I start looking at the fridge and I'm like, oh, put that aside. I'll take that, the rest of that piece of cheese, or I'll take
Right.
those vegetables. I'm going to take that little handful of things. And I just start to kind of accumulate a few things, especially if they're not going to go bad, if they don't need to be refrigerated. So
Mm-hmm.
chips, crackers, sometimes I'll just shove them in my bag. And I mean, I may have them, they're portable snacks on day 2 and day 3 sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've done that too. Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart. Or even if I know I'm going to be gone for a while, when I go to the market, I'm thinking like, I'm
Mhm.
going to buy some things like the cherry, maybe the first day I can eat a few of the cherry tomatoes,
Yeah.
or get a special cheese that's harder, that's easy to chop up, just the
Right.
extra little things. I know we also talked about drinks, like both
Yes.
of us travel with coffee. I think
Of
that's
course.
yep, got to have that. I know there's like packets now too, like you can make your own lemonade or electrolytes to add to your water if that's something, just something if you don't want to have the taste of the water, depending on where it is. Most of it now, like the fountains are set up in
Yeah.
public places now to fill your
Yeah.
water bottle. So,
Yeah. But you might want, I always bring instant coffee, even though I don't like instant coffee, but I'd rather have instant than none. So that's my choice, right?
yeah, that's how I am too.
Yeah.
Something's better than nothing.
Better than nothing. And that, sometimes I'll bring some of those bars. I know we've talked about that before, like some Trader Joe's and some of these other places have kind of like granola bars or whatever.
Yeah.
I try to pick the ones that don't have like caramel or chocolate, because those are melty,
Yeah,
right?
that's smart. Yeah.
Yeah, something that's, and also there's the ones that are really crumbly. So it's finding somewhere in between, right? That's just something nice that you can have. They're great to have in your bag. Sometimes I'll stick those even in my suitcase. It's just nice to have a few along
Right.
for the ride. Not that you can't get it there, but if you have, again, if you have them at home or you already have some things, those things are really easy to bring along.
Those are super easy. And me and my dad, we're kind of the same way. It's like once you find that brand that isn't too
Yeah,
crumbly, because you some of them are
yeah,
they're good and they're pretty healthy. I think they're nature, I don't know, there's different
yes,
ones. They're more of a granola type and they're
yes,
good and crunchy, but as soon as you open it, it's like there's just crumbs
they're
everywhere.
everywhere.
So yeah, it's finding the ones that work for you and
Mhm.
avoiding anything with the little chocolate chips because any type of heat for very long, yeah, they get all mushy. So once you find one you like, they're easy to take them out of the box and throw them in your
Yes.
bag
Mhm.
or in the bottom of your suitcase. So those first couple of days when you're out and about, you have that. You're not having to go immediately and purchase it, so to speak.
Yeah, so I typically pack for the travel day, and then I often bring a few little things like that. Bars, maybe we were talking about making your own mixed nuts because we do that. You can put some of those things together. And sometimes I'll just put, a bunch of that in the bag. If there's room in the bag, I'll add more for the rest of the trip. Again, not that I can't get it on the trip. It's just that I don't need that much. So I'll take what's left over at home, or it's probably cheaper to get it. It's certainly cheaper to get it at home at the regular grocery store than it is at the airport or
Right. Or sometimes if you're going to, right, the tourist, your first stop is maybe a destination that is a tourist town. A lot of times you are going to pay a little bit more than you might at home.
yeah.
And you may not find the selection. So this again avoids some of that if you have space. And I figure that way by the end of the trip, maybe I've created that little corner of extra space to bring something back or,
Yeah, exactly. And I think we talked about not bringing sandwiches. I know some people do that, but I don't like sandwiches to travel with because they get soggy. So again, I bring bread and cheese and meat, and sometimes I'll make a sandwich out of that with the stuff I have, but I usually don't assemble it and bring that. And again, it's more like so I can graze, right? I can eat a little bit,
yeah.
close the lid up, and then pick another, selection of things to eat in another hour or so. Lots of different things that you can accommodate with that kind of thing. Pretzels are good.
Oh yeah, pretzels are good or, any type of things that you can that are kind of crunchy, probably that mix of crunchy. The hard things to bring that, are like if you like chocolate or something, it's probably going to melt at some point, so that could be a disaster. So it's just
Well, the best thing is those mini M&Ms. That's what I
oh, that's a good one, right? Yeah. The
get because
peanut
they're
ones,
little
right?
tiny ones, so then you're not getting as much chocolate, but I sprinkle those in there sometimes, especially if I'm in the mood for a little bit of chocolate because they're less likely to melt. Again, the candy coating, it helps with that. But yeah, you don't want too sticky of stuff. I also am careful about dried fruit as well because dried fruit can get sweaty in the heat. So it
Yeah.
depends on what the weather's like, and we're in a sweltering time of year right now. So if it's going to have to sit in a window or potentially have exposure to like regular outdoor heat for any length of time, those kinds of things might not. They won't be bad. They just will feel weird because they got warm and
Right, right. And the
yeah.
nice thing too is nowadays there's a lot more little containers. I know you have that wonderful
I
little
do. I even brought it.
stacking container if you want to show people again. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. I think the reason I got this was because I wanted something that I could put in my suitcase and literally close and sit on it because it's steel, it's metal. It's not waterproof, so you can't put soup in here. It'll leak. Oh, there we go. But it's layers, so the top comes off and there's a little bottom. And then this is all by itself. So I can just travel with this like during the day if I want to
Yeah.
throw that in my bag. And then inside here is yet,
Oh, there we
another
go.
container. um, and then that one is tiny too. So sometimes like I'll fill this one with nuts and then I take this one and
Oh,
I'll put
that's
like
nice. Right.
cheeses on the side and maybe a little bit of like sliced ham or salami. And then in the bottom, I will put one or the other. I'll either put my bread down here and crackers, or sometimes I slice an apple. So I'll take a whole apple, and a whole apple will fit in the bottom of this sliced up. I soak it in a little bit of salt water so it doesn't turn brown. And then I put the apple down there. So that's like a very common airplane trip for me.
Yeah.
Couple of cheeses. And in that little space here, I can put like sliced cheeses or cubes. Sometimes I put a dollop of goat cheese, and I have a little like a cheese knife, and I'll just drop it
Right.
so I can spread that on my bread. And if I don't put the bread in here, I can put that in a bag because it's soft and I can just throw that away. But I have, and then sometimes I'll take my thermos or my little water bottle and I'll fill it full of the remainder of my red wine so no one knows I have it. And I have wine and cheese on the plane or on the train.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So
Right.
yeah, and I lay out my little tablecloth. And again, people are like looking from afar. What is she doing? You have to be kind of comfortable with that because I'm going to have a luxurious little meal that I packed for myself. Always feel better than if I have to go to if I have to get the meal that they're offering, or I have to go to the cafe car in the train because it's just the warmed up hot dog in the microwave. That's a
Yeah.
and potato chips, but I am having something else. And we know on flights, they're not giving us much for meals anymore, if anything.
Yeah, a lot of them, they've just completely pretty much cut it out, and if you're lucky, they'll throw you a bag of crackers or chips, but depending on,
Or
that's
they'll
recommend
charge you for it. I mean, I
right.
can't. There's some airline, well, it depends on the airline. Some international flights will give you a pretty nice meal. I know I had on China Air, I had a pretty good meal one time on that. But I think it's I think they're out of business. It was the Icelandic Air, which I took
Oh,
that a couple of times, and they were charging for everything. There was nothing that I could get to eat other than like the peanuts or whatever without spending $8 or $9. And then it's again, they give me a cheese plate, right?
right, exactly.
I'm just like, this is the cheap stuff and the cheap crackers, and I could have brought my own.
Right, exactly. So I think it's
So
just, planning ahead a little bit and thinking about it. And that way you'll be prepared, you'll have something to nibble on. And again, with the way travel is going, I mean, if you get stuck in the airport, I mean,
yes.
again, you may be able to buy something, but on the other hand, when you see the exorbitant prices, like for me, I'm like, $5 for a water. Hopefully I can get a whole sandwich for that once I get to my first destination.
And
Like,
even if it isn't a budget thing, because some people are like, well, I'm on vacation, I want to splurge and take care of myself. Like you said, go to the store and buy a little kit and put it together. Like you don't have to cut up your own cheeses or cut up your own veggies. You
no.
have somebody make you a little something. I promise bringing your own snack on your flight or on your journey will be better than you'll ever get served either at the
Yes.
airport, on the train. Some airports, I suppose, have some of those more luxurious restaurants, but then you're spending quite a bit of money, and you will do much better if you kind of pack it yourself. Uh,
Right.
it's so much nicer.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys have comments on things that you guys take for your snacks, you can always drop them into the chat or leave
Yeah,
them in the comments.
yeah. Oh, we got Leslie saying hi. Edamame. Yeah, that is really good. Great protein in that. Um,
Oh yeah, there's a lot of different things like that.
and Leslie, I got the container online on Amazon, and I will
Oh,
throw
we should put the link.
the description, put it in the description because it's really a cute little one. There's actually a couple of um shapes of these, but this was the smaller one, so that was why I really liked it. And again, you can get like Rubbermaid Tupperware plastic ones, and there's lots of cute little containers like that. But my concern when I started looking at those was as soon as I stick it in my suitcase or my backpack and I start shoving stuff in, which is
Yeah,
it's going to twist, break, and it's going to open. This, once I lock it up, it never opens. It's not,
right. That's what
nothing's
I'm
going to fall
thinking
out of it.
too.
Yeah,
Because
I
some
really,
of the smaller, even the smaller Tupperwares, if you're not careful over time, they can the lid will crack a little,
mhm.
or, it won't maybe be as durable. And definitely,
Yeah,
I wouldn't travel with a glass, like,
no, I wouldn't travel with glass
yeah,
either. And I like this because and now I travel with this, and some people might think you put the whole thing in your bag, even if you're not having lunch. And I do, and I keep it because I like to have it for leftovers. If I have a sandwich at a restaurant and I am like, yeah, give me the leftovers. But what are you going to do with it if you've got to get back
yeah,
on the road? Or so I just bring it home back to the hotel or the lodge or wherever I'm staying, and I stick it in there, and then I can carry it out. And I use leftover stuff from the day before
yeah,
for my next meal.
right, exactly. I
Kind of like the way you
agree.
do at home, right? So
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's great. I will put the link in the description here in a moment, Leslie, so you can see it on the rewatch for that little container. And so if anybody else has any other questions, we are happy to answer them. And thanks for watching, right?
Yeah, thanks guys for watching, and join us again on one of our next how-tos.
Yeah, I think we're going to be back here on Saturday and then on Wednesday. So
Yep.
talk to you all soon.
All right.